There we go. Now, will it turn on? Yay, it worked. I'm kind of low-key tonight because I'm not feeling great. How are you guys tonight? I see Janine and Lois and Christina. Christina, your box is finally packed, but it hasn't made it down here to where it gets weighed yet because I can't carry that many boxes. So Mike brought down what he could, but that one is still up there with about 4 more. So you should have your invoice tomorrow. Oh, what a week. Hi, Mary. How are you? I have not heard from Terry Candelora today, which I'm hoping that she feels okay. I'm going to try to get a hold of her tomorrow because she's still in the hospital, and I know they were doing all kinds of tests. That some of them I know were lined up for today, and so she would have just been having a lot to deal with today. So I wasn't gonna. I told her she needs me call, but she hadn't called, so hoping she's okay. But it's hard for Terry because her doctor for 3 weeks. I kept saying, "You sure your doctor shouldn't X-ray your chest?" Because I talked to her on the phone and she would sound like my mother did when my mom was having an episode of congestive heart failure with all that fluid that would get around everything. And the doctor kept putting her off. Yeah, you don't need a chest X-ray. And she ends up in the ER, and first thing they did is X-ray her chest, and she's full of pneumonia. Do you ever want to go just to a friend's house and find out who their doctor is and just bitch slap like a queen? You know, because hell hath no fury like an inconvenienced gay man. So you just want to do that, queen kind of guy bitch slap to a doctor for not paying attention to his patient. So, and it's hard on her because her husband's in the hospital. Her husband had gone in the day before and had his knee surgery. So he's not even to where he can see her because he's still, getting around and getting better from, I think he had a knee replacement. So she's just having a rough time. So at least she knows that she felt like really alone. And I made a point of sending her a text with everybody I knew that I had talked to in a chat or on Instagram that knew about her, and let her know all the people that were thinking about her. And that made a world of difference because she was feeling really alone. And so we'll all just keep thinking good thoughts and sending them her way. And I'll check in with her tomorrow. Oh, there goes the voice already. For my own part, I had no voice last week. And this week, it's cracking all over the place. They gave me an antibiotic, one I'd never heard of, doxycycline hyclate. This little SOB has a nasty side effect for people if you're overweight. I'm not Tinkerbell, okay? Apparently this sucker can cause intracranial swelling. You know what that is? That means that little tiny space between your brain and your skull starts filling up with even more fluid and creates lots of pressure. And I called it, I was in bed for 2 days, not connecting that it was that. Because who the hell ever heard of an antibiotic giving you that kind of side effect? Oh, Evan, tell me about it. They don't take women's symptoms seriously. I had a stroke and they weren't taking it seriously. They kept telling me, well, the nurse flat out said, you're from Chester. You had to have taken something. I'm so white I glow in moonlight. And you're going to tell me I'm a crackhead from downtown Chester just because I live on the edge of Chester? No. Just like me being in the hospital when I fell. That ass, and I reported him, x-rayed my knee. My knee didn't hurt. My hip I tore apart, not my knee. And then he told me, oh, I've got to take care of a real patient now who has lupus. Excuse me? Your real patient was right here and you didn't pay any attention to her. So yeah, they don't pay attention to women's symptoms. Some doctors don't even know the women's symptoms for a heart attack because they're different for us than they are for a man. We may not get the pain in the arm. We'll get it in the back under the shoulder blades. I know, because I've already had the heart attack too. Had that when I was 50. Yeah. It's amazingly rude around here. And around here, there's only three hospitals around here. But the minute you say you're from Chester, every one of them cops up attitude like you're some crackhead from down by the river. What's that Chris Farley thing? Living in a van down by the river. Who they kidding? If you live in that far downtown in Chester, you ain't even got the van. So, I would say 75% of the city is fine. But that 25%, it's hot, it's little hot pockets all the way around. Now, it used to be like everything on the other side of 95 20 years ago. And they have worked hard, and the city has gotten infrastructure back in and everything else. So it's not that bad, but there are hot spots. And, I know some of the cops. I know where the hot spots are. But why is it you can't even get medical care if you're a female without them being an idiot? Or if in my case, the minute they see you're from Chester, they act like idiots. So, Paul, if somebody were selling a van, I would love to buy one, but not yet. I got other issues. I have a kitchen sink that won't stop leaking. Mike tried to fix it, put a new faucet in. He can't get to it. He can't get the pieces apart to put the new one, to get the old one off. And then while he was under there, he ended up somehow breaking all that plastic PVC. Somehow he ended up breaking the drain pipe. So now not only do we have a faucet that leaks constantly, it drips underneath the cabinet too. We have a bucket under there now. Oh. Life is beautiful all the time, right? Whose song is that? Not Tom Lehrer. They're coming to take me away. Haha, they're coming to take me away. And I can't remember who sang that. That's not Weird Al Yankovic. It's before him. I do know that. That's an old novelty song. In the Philadelphia area, there used to be a show called Dr. Demento, which came on 93.3 WMMR on Sunday nights. And it didn't start until 11 or midnight. And I used to get in trouble because I'd try to stay up all night, listen to it. And he'd go on for, a good 2 or 3 hours just playing novelty songs. And I'd be exhausted for school on Mondays, and my mom would have a fit. But I heard some great novelty songs that were always these fun ones that the regular radio stations just wouldn't play. So, hi, Julie. And Heavenbound Farm. Trish is here. Evan, I saw. So, Evan, I had to go the roundabout way to get your info, you naughty thing. You hadn't emailed me, but I have it now, so it's all right. We made it work. Dr. Demento. See, somebody else who knows. Now, he was out in California, wasn't he? If I remember right, he was somewhere out in California broadcasting. And then was picked up by different radio stations all the way across the country. So tonight, you're going to help me, for as long as the voice lasts, you're going to help me sort through and figure out some of what's here. I have a box from the other end. I have no idea what's in it. And it's gotten to the point where all this stuff here, I have no idea what's here anymore. And we need to figure that out because we're into that fourth quarter that's also important. And Mike has decided, finally, that he will help me out. He's going to be my office manager for the business. I think I'm a school project is what I think I am. So, uh, I thought you had it. I am so very sorry. Oh yeah, and it's Evan. It happens. I figured I would see you in the next sale, and then and then my voice went, so um I didn't get a chance to have a next sale. But this stuff, this is why I'm still coughing, is because I had to stop taking this antibiotic, this doxycycline. The headaches just, it put me to bed. The first day, I didn't have a problem. I took the first pill. You only take 2 a day, 12 hours apart. Took the second one, had a little bit of a headache. Didn't think anything of it, went to bed. Woke up the next morning, took the first one for that day. By noon, my head hurt a lot, but it didn't connect that it was the antibiotic. So then, by that night, I took the next dose and I went to bed because my head was killing me. It just hurt everywhere, like everywhere on the skull. The only thing that didn't hurt was the jawline. And then it was the third day was when I was like, something's wrong. Because by the time I woke up, I couldn't stand any light. I just wanted to take my head and just go, here, take this away. And then Mike started looking it up and found out that it was a side effect of that particular antibiotic, can cause that intracranial swelling, and that's not a good thing. So I haven't gotten much done this week because, I started that stuff on the 1st. And so the first 3 days were kind of wiped out. And then it took another 2 days to get completely out of my system and the swelling to go back down. So it screwed me up for a good 5 days. That's no fun. So I had to have it. This evening, I started amoxicillin. We'll see how that works, because usually that doesn't work that well with me. But we're going to see how well that works to get rid of whatever this is. Because it's going around in my area. Some of the scouts have got it. It's going through their school. And for me, it's sitting in here. These 2 little glands keep getting tight and swollen, and the throat is all gunked up, and it keeps it's actually the bronchial tubes are swelling. I've got one of these lovely inhalers because even the bronchial tubes are swell up. Now with my brother Gary, it went right into his lungs. He has pneumonia. Not badly, because I wouldn't let it be too bad, because he was already just sick from something else. So I hustled him out and kept pestering until he went to his doctor, and his doctor did a chest x-ray. Mike, I hate this child. Mike got the sniffles for a day, said, I don't feel good. He looked pale. He felt clammy. He says, I'm going back to bed. Kid slept for 15 hours. Woke up fine. I know I did it to him, because I used to literally let it, here, have a spade and go play in the dirt in the backyard. Best thing you can do for a kid for their immune system. He's got a fantastic immune system. He goes to sleep for about 12, 15 hours, woke up, and he was fine. Jerk. Yep. Can't forget the painkiller. Got that one right here, the naproxen. It's funny, it's like technically that's not, it's supposed to be, a naproxen's an NSAID, which means it's an anti-inflammatory. But the oxycodone, heavy duty painkiller, didn't work on my hip and back because it just took the edge off. It didn't stop a lot of the pain because it wasn't doing anything for what caused the pain. So, but yeah, I'm still on the big dose of naproxen. The shot is wearing off, and so far so good with that, but I do tend to end up I do tend to end up laying down with a heating pad under my back now. That's progress. It's progress, but um, because I'm only taking one of these a day instead of two. Um, but that means I have to spend, from when I first wake up, I end up spending at least 2 hours in the middle of the day where I have to lay flat with a heating pad on my back. Because the longer you're on this level of this stuff, the more things it can screw up, like your liver and stuff. So, but you just keep going. What are you going to do? You keep going. We all know. Every mom on the planet knows that. When mom's sick, mom still has to keep going. I can't lay in bed that long. I dropped out of a tree as a kid. I damaged the small of my back. The muscles in the small of my back atrophied, so they're not as big as they should be. So I can't just lay flat all the time because it just starts aggravating other things. Oh, Julie, your son has a bad, yeah. Yeah, it's probably the same thing. That's something that is hitting around, and I know it's all over the East Coast because my cousin is seeing it. She's a nurse at Geisinger Hospital, which is in upstate PA, and she says they're seeing it up there. My sister-in-law's, my niece, she lives out in Lancaster County, and she's seeing it out where she works, going through her workplace. A plague test. Well, Crescent, I had the plague test, and my plague test was negative. I had to have a test for the plague and a test for strep, and it came back negative to either one. It's some goofy thing, and it's hit quite a few of my Boy Scouts. We had on Wednesday night, I finally was like up moving around like a zombie, but I finally was enough to, I was determined to go to Scouts because we're up to having advancement. So we'll have border reviews coming up. So we have kids coming in with their last minute stuff they have to do so that they can advance to the next rank. And it was like a ghost town. Every kid that has any kind of leadership position is supposed to be there. We should have had the entire senior patrol plus at least 12 other kids there. We didn't have all of the senior patrol. We only had the non-senior patrol. We only had 4 there. And it's all because so many of them are getting sick. So, and it's all, in most people, it's taken their voice out. And it's funny, it's like I can feel like first thing in the morning is it's here and it's here, but then there's something in by the vocal cords that when I would try to swallow, there's something in there that's swelling up too. But they tell me that it's not on my tonsils because I still have those. But yeah, yay for no plague. One of my scouts said that maybe we should all get, have you ever seen the pictures from the Black Death, and especially in Venice, the plague doctors would go out and they had this like big thing that looked like a giant crow's head with these big eyes and then this real pointy nose. And you see them pop up in horror movies now and then. But he said, maybe that's what we all need to be walking around with that on. have some kind of little, vent filter for the air. Maybe just try that for a few months. I said, yeah, I think that would scare all the children, that's for sure. Yeah, no, Julie, it's not. Yeah, we've had that same conversation about, is it strep? And I've talked to 2 different mothers and one of the dads on Wednesday night. They showed up just to drop their kids' stuff off because all of their kids are sick. and it's not strep. I don't know what it is, but it's not strep. So, yep. And then Evan says they would have the herbs in the beak. Yep, because the smell of the unwashed masses and them being sick would not be helpful. Really? With one of those plague doctor? Oh, that'd be kind of funny. I want my second shot, but now I've got this. It's frustrating. So let's see what we've got here. Now this is, I'm gonna have to fix this. You see the curve on that? That needs a little help. This is old too. I can tell from the way the printing is done. Catch a leprechaun and your fortune is made. That's what it says in the end paper. Isn't that a wild end paper? Let's see what we got hiding here. Shawneen and the Gander. Oh, 1937. First edition. It's always good when they say first edition. Yay. But I am going to have to do, I'll have to look this one up. Let's see what it, if the condition inside is pretty good. I see one page with a fingerprint. There's a little water damage on the corners here. Oh, it's on the back cover. Well, you can't see it in there, but you can see it there. So that'll be one. That'll be one to look up. Kids' books from the 30s are usually a good bet. Oh, now I had an edition of this that was going to be in the last sale I did, and then I didn't get to it because it ran out of time. The last sale I did was at Trisha's. Here is another Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus magazine. This is the 1944 edition. That great cover. I love that picture. That's so cute. And for once, a clown not acting like creepy. He's proposing. Oh, remember back in the day when you could advertise smoking? These are for Chesterfields. So how many of those? This stuff's all in plastic. It's all protected. All right. So I think this is another circus thing hiding in here. How many of you have, like in my house, there was always a drawer in the dining room, and I haven't gone through it, that is all just old souvenir paperwork. He used to have all the maps in it from my parents. I don't know if, I bet Mom cleaned it out at some point. There may not be any old maps in it anymore, but it would have stuff like this in it. So this is souvenir folder from Ringling Brothers, Mr. and Mrs. Gargantua the Great. I hope somebody likes these things. Look at all, on this side, it's all pictures of the gorillas, Gargantua. So Gargantua, his enormous arm stretch is 9 feet across. I'm only 5'3". That's a big arm spread. It says over 9 feet on that one. Hello, Melinda. And then the other side is all the other animals. Let's see. They only used red, yellow, green, and blue. So this has got to be early because they're all primary color inks. I don't see a date. Gee, who wants to look up Gargantua the Great and find out when that was a thing for Barnum and Bailey? But you've got that. You've got baby Thelma here. And then there's this one, world's only married giant couple over 8 feet tall. But it doesn't say who they are. It looks like a kid's chair. Doesn't that look like that's a little kid's chair? Even if they are 8 feet tall, that's not a normal size chair. No way. with their cowboy boots. Okay, so that means there's some stuff there to have to research. Hi, Withering Cottage. All right, so that's more, we'll keep those two together because that's more circus stuff. Well, this is all, I know what this is. I know where this is. Friends Central School. In this area, it's the Quaker High School. So while there are some schools in Quaker meeting houses around here, there's only one high school, and it's all the way up in Overbrook, part of Philadelphia. This is the field day thing from 1945. But somebody went there, and here's the school newspaper from January 26, 1945. Oh, wow, the headmaster of the school passed away then. So, is there just one in here? Or is this more than one? I can't tell. We're going to have to pull this out. Withering Cottage, I know you're on my list to go see your channel. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Okay, so there's 3 copies in here of the exact same paper, which then makes me wonder if that's going to be the way with the other ones, because there's June 8th from 1945, February 23rd from 45, April 27th from 1945. Hey, you're not a newspaper. What are you? We'll sit there. So somebody, why would you save 3 copies of the exact same paper? I don't know. But it is, that might be something I could put on eBay since it is still in existence. That school is still in existence. I know one of the scouts in the troop I grew up with, Perry, the guy's name was Pershing Morgan Jones. Everybody called him Perry. I believe he went to school up there. Wow. Friends Central School Phys Ed Department. It's the spring sports schedule. So they had archery, baseball, track, tennis, what else? And girls and boys, not just one or the other, both. Girls midget baseball. What? What? Okay, I don't know what the heck they're doing there. Lacrosse is on the list. That's pretty inclusive. I like that there's archery on there. You don't see that one too often. You certainly don't see girls midget baseball. I'm not kidding you. Can you see that right there? What were they doing? All right, but that's still more of the Friends high school up in Philly. All right, so we know keep this and field day. I'm going to find my little clips and oh, Gargantua was from 29 to 49. Oh, okay. Thank you. You know, it's funny, is like I do this for Janet when I can, is I sit there and I watch Jan's lives and I'm trying to like type stuff in and research for her. I can't see her on Wednesday nights now if she has a sale because I've got scouts now. So Gargantua was 1929. That was the year my mother was born. That reminds me, I still need to send something special to Misty's dad. Misty from Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter, her father is turning 70 something. And I laughed because when she said it, I went, wait a minute. He's only 2 years older than my oldest sibling, who Steve just passed away in August. But I was like, your dad could be another sibling. Big age spread. Oh, okay. So this is just a box for magic cards. That should be with the packing stuff, because I can use that to pack something in. More books. More books. Mike's right. This house has too many books. This is new. Wait till next year. And it's all about growing in the suburbs of New York, family with a love of baseball, neighborhoods divided as Dodger, Giant, or Yankee fans. Is it signed? There's a note in it, but this was one thing that, here we go. This is why this is in my house. Signed by the author. Part of the inheritance of the book collection. Every single book we had to check. Didn't matter old or new, we had to check every book to see what was what, if it was signed or not. So, oh yeah, that's right, Book. Your brother was in ICU. How is your brother doing, Book? Because I had heard he was in ICU. I was in the chat where you had talked about that. But then I haven't been in many chats these last couple of days because of how that one medication knocked me on my butt. Oh, I like this one. So you see lots of copies of the Language of Flowers books. But this one, where do you see the font in here? Does this say... Where is it? It talks about how the version they copied this from had been handwritten and was a dictionary of over 700 flowers and was a family heirloom from 1913. So they copied all the handwriting from the original 1913 one and all the different plants, all the different meanings. This is cool. See, some of the ones you find, now this says it's a 5th printing from 1979. The first printing's 1968. A lot of the ones you find now, they don't copy the original book that it came from. I love that look at all these little tiny watercolor paintings that are of some flowers that are hiding in the center and along the edges. This one's cool. I like this better than the modern one I have. I just like how it looks so much better. Well, that tells me what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep this one, take the other one off my bookshelf, and put that in a live sale. I don't know who's joining Trisha Saturday night. It's not me. Not yet, anyway. So I will be joining Trisha later in the month, and I will be joining Trisha for October 30th. Yeah. I laugh because honestly, that's when my birthday should have been, 30th or the 31st. So that's why I laugh. I can't wait. I'm going to have some friggin' fun on that one. I have threatened to dress up, but as what or in what, I'm not sure yet. But I have threatened to dress up on Trisha on that sale on the 30th. It is mischief night after all. Oh, wow. It's a bookmark, but it's so old, there's no area code on that phone number. All right, are you another signed one? No, but you're translated. The Secret of the Cure d'Ars with a Note on the Saint by G.K. Chesterton. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably mutilating how that would be pronounced. But it looks like it might be a religious book. And they can sometimes, and if the cover's got some issues, you can see some damage there and really damaged here. But never discount books on any kind of religion, mythology, folklore, especially folklore. A lot of times they were only printed once and may not have ever gotten reprinted. And boy, if you find stuff about ghosts too, that can also be a good one. There is a gentleman named Hans Holzer who wrote a lot of books on hunting for ghosts. He basically was the first one that made a profession, made a living out of it, because he would take people who he had vetted as actual mediums, and he went to disprove them. That's what his belief was when he started, that he was going to go and disprove hauntings, and he wasn't able to on a few. And then that's when the career started, and he wrote a lot of books about it. Let's see, where to go from here. Discovering your own life's wisdom in the second half of your life. Trouble is we don't tend to think of the second half of our life until after we hit 50, and by then it's more like the third of your life, because it seems like they come in 25-year chunks. Well, there's a mark in here. Somebody was reading and had marked off that. At least it's with a little tabby thing that'll come off. Let's get that out of there. Put that with the little pile of books. Hey, this is cute. Look at this one. How many of you still have old books in your house? Like books that were yours as a kid? Okay, it says copyright 1932, but the number line says this is probably the 17th printing. So this is not from 32, but they kept all the illustration and the font like it would have been. I don't know this Lois Lenski. She even has her name on the back as well as on the front. Yeah, I had a few of my dad's, but not while my dad or grandmother was alive. When we were emptying my grandmother's house, we found a couple of the Big Little books. There was Tex Ritter, and who was the actor John Ritter's father, but Tex Ritter used to do a lot of westerns. Roy Rogers, Gene Autry. So apparently my dad liked those early westerns, those old western serials that they'd show at the movie theater. Okay. Oh, I see crumbly blue feathers. Oh dear. You need some love. It's a hat, but look what's happened. The glue, this must have all been covered with feathers, and the glue is shot, so the feathers are falling off. Yeah, actually, the feathers aren't in too bad a shape, but the glue is just all disintegrated. We're not taking that out of the bag. No, we're going to just carefully leave you in the bag. till I can take you outside to the picnic table and see how damaged you are to see if I can save those feathers or... Oh, yuck. Ah, I have grit all over me now. See, when feathers go bad, they don't get all gritty like sand. So as soon as I touched it, I knew it had to be the glue. Because being a costumer's daughter, my mom would restore a lot of stuff. And, well, I see fabric. Oh, what is this? Look, sparklies. It's got sparklies. Oh, okay. So, back in the 30s, if you wanted to make a dress look nice, you could buy collars and you would just hand stitch this onto the dress. Now, this is a really nice beaded one. I'm going to be super careful because I can tell it's on silk netting, and the silk already, I see a couple of little holes in it. So if the silk starts dry rotting too badly, the weight of these beads, because these are glass, would actually just drop it. Now look what's here, the original tag. This has never been used. This is the kind of thing that I would seriously consider that should just be framed. My mom had an Edwardian dress that was like this. Yeah, see, you can see how this corner is, you can see the little hole there, and this is turning brown. This corner is dry rotting. The silk just gets so dried out that it gets brittle. But my mom had a dress and somebody wanted to wear it for her wedding. And it was her great grandmother's dress. And my mom, I remember her taking 2 months every day working on this thing. And I even worked on it some. But she had to stitch the entire thing to a silk net underlay. So basically what she did is she just took the entire dress and took new silk underneath and stitched every piece of this to the new silk, and spots where the beadwork was coming undone, she had to re-stitch the beadwork in exactly the same pattern onto the new stuff. It was the most time-consuming job I think she'd ever taken on. But it was a gorgeous dress, and she loved doing it. And luckily, I knew beadwork, so I knew to help her out some. But, whew, boy, did that take a long time. There were a ton of little seed beads on that thing. So this is from Lit Brothers of Philadelphia and cost $1.98. Ooh, big spender there. I need to find something. Ow. Is there any? No. Hey, you know what? We didn't look to see what this was. Maybe I could take this out. Locust Street Theater presents Ibsen's A Doll's House. Oh, so that's an old theater program. All right, so we're gonna, because I don't want this bouncing around a lot, especially if the silk's getting fragile. I don't want to lose any of those beads. So I'm going to take this. We're just going to slide this in here. Now, some of you that are new to my channel, if you have not gone back and watched the one that's pinned about how I ended up with all this stuff, you should go check that out. Then you'll understand why it is that I have stuff from my great-grandparents, so from the late 1800s all the way down, because I just have inherited a ton of stuff. Now this looks like it's been cut off See, there's some material there. But that's a really tiny wrist. So I got wide hands there. It just fits through it. So this would have been the end of a sleeve, and probably it had what? Yeah, it had purple ribbon that would have gone across there to tie it. Then you would have had that over your hand. But it looks like there's only one. I don't see another one. It's beautiful looking lace. Look at the detail on this. It's really pretty. And really looks like that's hand done. Really, really tiny, tiny stitches in there. Wow. See, we never know what I'm going to find. And they used to keep everything. Now there's some machine stitching on this, but somebody cut it off, probably off, I'm guessing, off of a kid's outfit and saved it. I never know. I never know. Oh yeah, wouldn't that be great for steampunk? Now check this one out. Nobody in my family's been to New Zealand. So it's Birds of New Zealand, but they've crocheted an edge around the tea towel. So this had to be from, an inheritance. Where's Nate when we need him, right? Do we have a date anywhere? No, it says Irish linen, but no date. A bellbird, a kingfisher, a fantail, a parakeet, kiwi, a what? A pukeko. Okay. Pukeko looks like a goose that got into some dye. That's a pukeko. Looks like somebody painted the local goose. So what do you think, guys? You think the tea towel should be saved for a live sale? That's very different. So if that's possible live sale, that should go on that side. And these are, let's treat it gently and keep it out of the way. So, oh, I like steampunk. I don't have very much in the way of steampunk. Oh, from 1948. Okay. Book, I don't know what to tell you other than we're all going to be praying for you. Because I have no sympathy for these damn nurses that don't get the second shot. When you should have enough scientific knowledge in your head to understand that a virus you can be asymptomatic and become a carrier. And then you still don't want to take the vaccine, means you're now a danger to your patients. How does that not connect? Because that's why my brother's gone. So, dear, I feel for you, and I completely understand being freaked out. I really do. And I hope it all goes well for you. Because my brother had ICU nurse in the cardiac ICU, and they tracked it down. The 4 patients she took care of, all 4 of them got COVID. She now has passed on as well as my brother. It just drives me bonkers that, I mean, I get it if you want it to be your choice, your body, but when it comes to the fact that if you're the carrier and you're killing people, you got to stop and wonder about that. And that's much as I'm going to get into that political nightmare, because it shouldn't even be political. That's the part that fries me. Why is that political? Wow, I know this damage. This is silverfish. This must have been in somebody's attic. High Sierra Hiking Guide to Merced Peak. High Sierra, that's Yosemite. Merced Peak is Yosemite from 1973. Well, that's another book one to look up. Oh, and we've still got this. It didn't look up this. To see. Oh, okay. So this is the actual cover for the Locust Street Theater. Locust Street Theater was a big theater in Philadelphia, and it's one of the Schubert. It was originally one of the Schubert theaters. So I'm looking at the cast list, and there's not a name on there I recognize. But I once had somebody a long time ago when eBay had first started. I used to be a seller's assistant, and I had somebody nearby who had all these old theater programs, a lot of them from New York, and they were fantastic. But these were ones from like the 1910s, 20s, and 30s, a few from the 40s. And I was dumbfounded at how much money those old Broadway programs, some of them could get. And one of them, I couldn't figure out why. It said Fred Astaire and somebody else. And I was like, okay, I know him, but I never connected that it was from before he went into the movies, that he was a dance act with his sister. And that's why this one program went so high, because it was from something with him and his sister. Hi, Belinda. This is something else that when you find them, if you find old ones, double check them, double check on eBay or however to see if they're worth anything. You'd be surprised at these old menus. My goodness, this even has all the inserts stapled in. Look at that. Baby lobster on special. It's got this leaflet one stuck in there. If Bernstein's Fish Grotto from San Francisco is no longer around, there may be people that collect it. I can't tell you how many old matchbooks, menus, placemats, especially like the placemats they'd have that had little pictures and stuff on them. I have sold them so much on eBay, and some of them have done really super well, because some of these places, they were a destination unto themselves, and people buy them up. They just seem to collect them. And I think now too, one of the places it gets them is there's so many local historical societies all over the country now that they are looking for the stuff so that they can have it in theirs. Now, I don't know what this is. Polaroid postcarders. How to use a Polaroid. So you write a message and address on the reverse side. Oh. So be sure to coat the picture before mailing. I don't know what you're coating it with. So it's a sticker to put on the back of your photograph and turns it into a postcard, but it's not quite the right size. That's kind of small. That's kind of small. So 25 for only 95 cents. Oh, wow. Wait, this way. I've never seen these before. I've never seen that done as a postcard thing before. That's different. That's kind of weird, different, that probably should go on eBay. Where's that eBay pile? It's funny. I mean, it really is. Sometimes it's the funniest little stuff that goes bonkers, that sells, simply because of the fact that most people, they're things that most people would throw away. So we're going to put this with the fish grotto and start an eBay pile there. Okay, so now I know where some of this box came from, because these are some pictures from, he was the caretaker of the house in Rose Valley. But what's, oh look, there's a Love Grandma. Oh, so here's a postcard from the Betsy Ross house in Philadelphia to her granddaughter when they lived in Mississippi. So they lived in Mississippi in 1970. She would have been, well, in September of that year, she might call her my cousin. She's my best friend, but but she's not technically blood related. So she would have been not quite 5 yet in Mississippi. They're the ones that ended up traveling all over the world. All right, so I have other photos of that property because the house in Rose Valley had been an important historical house for Rose Valley, but it had fallen into so much disrepair that they couldn't save it. So they ended up having to tear it down. And what somebody built there looks like a little McMansion kind of thing. Okay, manager purchasing, manager contract, subcontract manager, and the address is Tehran. That's Iran. So this is from when they lived in Iran, which they did by the time she was 6, because they went from Mississippi to Scotland to Iran. So I will check out that paperwork later. Oh, we've got some letters from different places. I think I will hang on to that for my cousin because that looks like. So how many of you have families that did this? That just took a random photo of the tombstone. Mind you, I mean, I know that's a thing. I do know that can be a thing. It's just unusual to me. But I know Find a Grave, that's a whole website where you can find stuff. Oh, it's a pity this is empty. Check this out. It's the whole envelope. So it must have been for a book, because it says that it's the New York World's Fair Illustrated. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe the book will be in there. Oh, Rose Valley, Saskatchewan, Canada. Yet Rose Valley, I am near 2 arts and crafts, 2 arts and crafts towns. Arden, Delaware was started first by the architect Will Price and the sculptor Frank Stevens. It was started as an actual artist community. There was a weaving studio, a pottery studio, a woodwork studio. There's sculpture studio. There was a blacksmith studio, which the Renzetti family did for over 100 years. Pete Renzetti finally had to give it up a couple of years ago. But it just, they had everything you could imagine. and they made it prosperous. They actually kept going even through the war, and still up into the 50s even still had some of it product being put out. Now, Rose Valley wasn't so much about having artists there and handcrafters as much as it was a place for Will Price's drinking buddies from the main line to come down and hang out for the summer. So, and I got that from Walter Price's great-great-granddaughter, because she has given talks in Rose Valley about how her family has founded Rose Valley. And the Rose Valley had, there is some Rose Valley pottery, and there's some Rose Valley furniture, which is highly sought after and expensive. They kept such tight control, though, over marking any of it, that a lot of stuff was never marked. So it's hard, you can attribute it to, but it's very hard to prove something was from Rose Valley if it didn't have a mark on it. But Rose Valley also went bankrupt very quickly, within 10 years. Whereas Arden stayed solvent even through the war, because one of the things that I know they did to drum up business in the middle of the Depression for the carpentry studio, Frank Stevens was brilliant. He sent somebody down the rail line to stop at every little station on the railroad line and go to the local church. And if their pews looked a little, worn out, and they would talk them into buying new ends for the pews. You don't need the whole pew. Don't you want to upgrade? We can do a deal. We'll just make, the seat goes here, but we'll just make that end piece that faces the aisle, and you can have something beautifully carved on it, and we'll make it to match your existing pews so that it's not going to cost you as much. And then it'll be delivered by the train. We will deliver it with 2 carpenters whose sole job will be to put them all together. That kept them going for a long time. Sometimes you have to sneak it through to make some kind of way to make your own money. A lot of us figured that out in 2020. Had to figure out our own way. So, all right, so this is New York World's Fair. The stuff underneath is Circus. But they stayed solvent for a long time. Hey, check this. Oh, you guys are going to love this. It's an advertising poster for American Airlines. Look at that. Wow. This is cool. That is awesome. Mercury label. So it's still the early. See, American Airlines, they dropped that Mercury label, I think sometime in the 50s. Oh, it had to be later than that. This says it's a reprint of a 4-color spread advertisement appearing in Saturday Evening Post. Voice is going. September 28th, 1957. So, okay, so they still have the Mercury label through the 50s then? Because the Mercury symbol was the first things they did. All right, so we have, sit that there. Oh, we have more of Friends Central. We have another field day. We have 9th grade class. 1943, 1944 class. More newspapers for Friends Central. The Register. All right, so we're going to take all the Friends Central, keep that together. Locust Theater, that's another one up in Philly. George Abbott presents Kiss and Tell. with more people I've never heard of. Violet Hemming, Walter Gilbert, and Betty Ann Nyman. All right, where'd I put that last one? There we go. I'm going to take this one, stick it in with that. Always see about putting like with like when you have a lot to sort out. Oh, look at the kitties. It has the new look, but it's the same old tail. Oh, that's cute. She'll have to put that with the other one. Okay, let me show you this. This is what I did earlier today. This is all packs of ephemera. There are a little pack of wedding cards from the bridal shower. These are from my mother. There's, oh, I gotta sneeze. There's 2 packs of those, so, and they're a little different. There's maybe 4 cards total that are in the same in each pack. This is a more modern Christmas ones. These are not all very old. I guess these are mostly from the 70s, so that first one's a little older. And these are just general cards. This is, okay, this is the one that has Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, and Easter. So you're not going to see that one again for a while. These are all Santa, snowman, and outdoor snow scenes. Outdoor scenes, more outdoor scenes. Holly and poinsettia. Animals, all Christmas. Vintage Christmas that's all flowers, trees, whatever. I think this one all has people in it. That's what I did this afternoon. Sorted all these suckers out. And I think we'll take this one and add it to one of these. And I was with one of the ladies this week who I've been picking stuff up to help her sort stuff out and get it out of her house. So she gave me some interesting glass bottles that I have to soak because some of them have some stuff gunked in the bottom. So I've been finding some more unusual fun stuff. But there we go. That little Christmas one is with the vintage Christmas ones. So there is, and I have a box upstairs that I am slowly filling because I do at some point want to have a ephemera only sale where it's nothing but ephemera stuff. But I don't want it to be all just, you know, the vintage cards. I want other stuff in there. So I've been trying to pick and choose and save up. And actually, this is something I found that's going up. It's going to go up with it. In the box she gave me, there was this old book. It does not have the cover. It is an old Whitman 1950s kids book about Benny the Bus. And with no cover, you know, I mean, it's not really good as a book, but everything's in perfect shape. But I just love the 1930s look of the graphics of the pictures. I just love the illustration, the way it looks. So that's going to go into that. The voice is going. All right. So we're getting there because that box is owned, but that box is about this big and this high, and right now it's only like that full. Gotta work on that. Oh, what do we got here? So they did the student prints. I know the student prints. The student prints, they even have the newspaper clippings. Look at all these newspaper clippings from student prints. The Student Prince is an operetta by Sigmund Romberg. He did Student Prince and The New Moon were probably the two most famous ones. I haven't done Student Prince, but I was in The New Moon. I sang in The New Moon. I absolutely loved it. Okay, baseball fans, tell me, because I know nothing. I know nothing about vintage baseball stuff. I'm assuming this is worth something. City Series, the Athletics versus the Phillies, 1945 at Shibe Park. Check out the back. The back is an ad. Buy your bonds today. 7th War Loan Drive. So there's this one. Gets better. Gets better. There's this one. Oh, wait, there's two of those. There's two of these in here. Look, there's one. And it's got another Bond ad on the back. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to have to. Now, this one, look, they even has the scorecard. You can keep the score yourself inside the center. I once found a pin on the floor of an attic. I was going to sweep it in. I stepped on it. I was going to throw it in the trash, and I realized, wait a minute, that's a frame around it. What? And it has a face. What is that? And so I picked it up and looked, and it's like a little celluloid pin. It was not much bigger than a quarter, but instead of being totally round, it was an oval. So it was only about, yay big, like slightly over with the frame, slightly over an inch. Turns out it was somebody from the Philadelphia A's, which was the name before they became the Phillies. And it was some famous pitcher. And that little tiny celluloid image was what they used to give out early days of baseball. We're talking like 1910s, 1920s at the latest. And that little tiny thing, which I swept up off the floor, turned out to be worth $216 because it was such an early baseball piece. And the only clue I had that it was baseball is because in the picture, you could just see the top of the uniform, like down to here. But what you could see was that there were stripes and there was this big A on his chest. So, yeah. Yeah, this is absolutely going for the eBay pile. Absolutely. Oh, look, now there's New York World's Fair. Aquacade. I don't know what an aquacade is. Reminds me of Vintage Vinny's Pinup Girls. Ad on the back for Pat's Blue Ribbon. Oh, hello, Coca-Cola girl. There we go. Big old Coca-Cola ad in there. Does this say what this is? Well, there is an early picture. So I remember seeing on TV, the New Jersey Public Broadcasting used to show this thing called Matinee at the Bijou. And it would show the old serials, those things that they showed, like Perils of Pauline, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers. And they'd only show like one episode each week. So you had to watch it, That's Buster Crabbe. That's Flash Gordon. Not a bad looking guy. So apparently this Aquacade thing had him and whoever she is. So she is Eleanor Holm. I love how it says, and costumes by. They're both in swimsuits. I don't see any costumes. Oh, wow. Oh, man. I want to do some research. Look at this. They filled in the racetrack with a thing of water that went like all the way around. Can you see? Wait, which way? This way. Look at that. There's flat ground in the center and then the stands. That's the wildest thing. I've never heard of that. Okay, so apparently this aquacade thing was at the New York World's Fair. They created a marine amphitheater. What year? This is wild. I've never, ever, ever heard of this before. Where's your year? From 1940. I've never heard of this. That's really wild. Okay, we had found that envelope that had New York World's Fair illustrated, but here's more World's Fair stuff. One is the AAA tour. Let's see what this one is, because this looks like it's all postcards. This could be interesting. Oh, it is, isn't it? It's midnight. You're right, Nettie. It's time. The reason I have to try to take it till midnight is because physical therapy starts at 11 in the morning. And that way, then by the time I come home from physical therapy, then I take it right then, because by then I need it again. I got the big glass out. You see how big this thing is? I found them in Goodwill. When I was growing up, we didn't have these. We had other ones. But sometime in the 80s, we found these ones. And the other ones, they're only this tall. And then in Goodwill, I found these monster ones. I found 4 of them. These suckers are huge. And Mike loves them. And I use them for when I'm here with you guys. Because this glass is 7.5 inches tall. I was so surprised. I never knew they made them that big. I only found them back in February. It is a big glass. I look at that glass and all I could think of is that's the kind of glass that should come with a straw and an umbrella in it with the drink. So this is New York World's Fair Pictorial Postcards. You know, one thing that always has confused me about some of these things is because they used the obelisk and the sphere, apparently, for quite a few years. So you have the Hall of Communications, the Food Building. Oh, and these are officially licensed, it says on the back. Firestone Tire and Rubber Company. They had a big layout. The United States Government Building. Now, it looks like all this stuff is all from that 1940 World's Fair. Spiral hedge and tulip beds. It looks like a roulette wheel. Just needs the ball going around it. Builders of the Future stands in the center of the Rose Court. Got that 1930s kind of, you know, in the 30s, there were a lot of sculptures being made, and they all kind of have the same look. The British Pavilion. Oh, here we go. The Crest. I don't know what they were going for here. The sculptor was Brenda Putnam. It was just called the Crest. I don't quite get it. So the crest rests above a teardrop pool in the center of the garden court of the Consumers Building. It depicts a male swimmer poised atop the crest of a stylized wave. Seriously, I thought he was resting on top of a snail shell. Does that not look like a seashell to you? Hi, Perfecting Pearls. I'm doing okay. I mean, my voice is cracking again. I had a bad reaction to the antibiotic, so I had to get off of that. And then today, I had to get the first one out of my system, and today I started a new antibiotic. I didn't have my voice back until, well, it came back in and out on Tuesday, and I had it back for Wednesday, and I've had it most of today, but you can tell it's starting to kick out on me. How the New York World's Fair looks from the painting. Oh, so this was the artist's paint design by John Weinrich. I like that they put the artist's name on these things. So okay, so that little ball and spike was the 18-story perisphere and the 700-foot Trilon at the theme center. So it's a perisphere and a Trilon. They love their tulips because that's Tulip Garden. I hope I'm not boring you guys showing you all these. There's a lot of them. But how else are we ever going to see what 1940 World's Fair was like? Because it's not like I got a time machine that works. The aviation building. I like this one. It looks almost like a spaceship. It's a spiral fountain. It's all stainless steel. That's kind of cool. Got that space age look. The RCA exhibition. The Elko yacht at the RCA exhibit. Yo, landlocked a yacht? Why? It's in a puddle. That is not coming out of there. That is nowhere near the normal water. It's literally floating in a little puddle. That's funny. Okay, so it basically was a boat fully equipped with all the latest radio devices for communication and safety at sea as part of a Radio Marine section in the Radio Corporation of America exhibit. Okay. So here's the big Tulip Garden. I'm hoping we see a postcard of what this is. That's some kind of sculpture literally hanging off the front of the building. But in this shot, it's kind of far away, and I'm not quite sure what that's meant to be. And it doesn't say on the back. We have a Japanese pavilion. Does any place have a World's Fair anymore? The Celestial Sphere by Paul Manship. I hope that focus is okay, because that's got some cool stuff hiding in it. There's ships in there, there's whales, there's dolphins, there's people. It's actually really kind of cool. New York City had its own building at the fair. Fair enough, considering. I know in Bloomsburg, PA, they used to have World's Fair at Bloomsburg, PA. I never got up there to see it, though. Marine Transportation Hall. The Hall of Communications looks like a big Pez dispenser. Giant Pez dispenser. The Polish pavilion. Wonder if those are all tiles. That looks kind of cool. Looks like a big old chimney in a way. Lift Every Voice and Sing by Augusta Savage. It's another artist piece. I like how it's made deliberately to look like a harp. Yeah, the huge harp is located in the garden. Lift Every Voice and Sing is taken from the poem of the same name, which is the Negro national anthem. Really? Never heard that before. Still a neat piece. I wonder whatever happens. It's the British Pavilion. But whatever happens when they have these big things and they have this public artwork out there, what on earth ever happens to the artwork? Main entrance in the operations building. Now that looks like something out of the Jetsons, doesn't it? And the last one is the Constitution Mall, artist rendering. So the two artist rendering ones are what they thought it would look like when it was all Melanie, how are you doing? I know things have been kind of rough for you too. Oh, we're all praying for everybody. I saw a when your YouTube channel is so big, you get this community page and you can put little question things. And another channel wasn't one of the reseller, the vintage community, but they asked, which did you find was, how did they put it? They wanted to know that between 2020 and 2021, which one did you find harder and which one did you find weirder? Harder was a 60-40 split. 60 to 2020, 40 to 2021. But then when you got to weirder, 80% of the respondents to this poll said that 2021 was weirder. And when you started looking at the comment section, they weren't kidding. I mean, if it wasn't health related, and not all of those were, plague related. It was health related for other problems that were going on. It was things about other stuff breaking down, like cars or problems with the house, or just things just causing a chaos because something integral has suddenly broken down. Like for us, it's the oven, and now the kitchen sink. It's becoming a problem around here. But we keep working our way through it. But it just was so odd that they just said flat out that was the big problem, was that so many people were having put you up there, were having all this just odd stuff happen in their lives that was just weird, that they felt that this year just, every time you turn around, some other goofy thing was happening. And it sure felt like that for me. Ow. 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 Oh. Sorry, guys. When you're in between doses of pain meds, sneezing like that is the worst. Oh, wow. That hurt. That hurt. That really hurt. Oy vey. Yeah. And I tired my back out today. You know why? Because I did the dishes. You know, Mike's good. If he takes any dishes upstairs, the next time he comes downstairs, he brings it back right away. Not my brother. My brother will wait until he has a stack of them. Then he brings them down. Twit. So I was just like, you know what? I have all this stuff that I wanted to wash, and, you know, porcelain stuff and some aluminum trays that have flowers on them. And I was just getting ready to do them. And here he comes with a big stack of dishes. So I thought, no, I'm just doing them. I'm just going to do them. Just going to do them. So Mike saw what I was doing, and he said, he just screwed up your plans, didn't he? I'm like, yep. So while I did the dishes, Mike dried. We got them all knocked out so that I could do the stuff that I needed to wash off, because I took Mike's car today and I took 2 boxes of stuff to Goodwill, and I have to do a haul video because I'm keeping one of these though. I, of course, went inside because I'm always looking for glass for you guys. Well, I didn't find any glass, but I found some neat the early 1920s, 30s Japanese stuff, the iridescent ware with the blue and the orange. And it's the earlier blue, that kind of grayish blue, which is the early stuff. So I found some of that, and I found some little bowls that I use for cat dishes that were old porcelain. But then I found these 2 Lenox pieces. They're Charlie Brown and Snoopy on the one, and it's only about this high. And the lid comes off. Kind of small to use as a cookie jar, but you could use it as a candy dish. And it's by Lenox. And on eBay, they sell for about $30. So great. Cost me $4. Okay. The other one, though, I'm keeping. The other one is big, and that one cost me $8. But it's a honkin' big thing. It is this high. It is Snoopy's doghouse with Woodstock helping Snoopy put lights around the doghouse. It's also by Lenox from the same series, but it's Snoopy and Woodstock. I have Christmas plates still in their boxes that we haven't been able to use the last 2 years, but I keep them in the very top of the cabinet in the kitchen, in the top of the hutch, because a lot of my Christmas stuff for the kitchen table is all Snoopy and Woodstock Christmas. So when I saw that, I'm like, that's perfect. That's staying. I will keep that with me. But the rest of the stuff I picked up is all going to be showing up in resale. The only one other thing I didn't is Mike I knew he would. He'd already laid claim to it. So when I first started doing live sales, there was a big aluminum tray, hammered aluminum tray back here. And it was bothering a few people because they really wanted to buy it, but my kid was really adamant that he was going to keep it. So I finally moved it out of here. It's now hanging on the wall in his bedroom. I found a smaller version of that, and it's the same beautifully done chrysanthemum. He snagged. I wanted to put it away for him for Christmas. He's already snagged it and took it upstairs. As soon as he saw it from me trying to wash the dust off of it, he took it. It's like, well, you didn't really give me a birthday present. Excuse me? Granted, yeah, this year he didn't get as big a birthday present as he normally did, but so yeah, he snagged it on me right away. But you'll see the other stuff in the next, it's all for the next live sale, which will be next week. Next week will be another live sale. But, yeah, Melanie, I see what you say about that. Sounds like I cannot let my brother do dishes. Oh, no. We had this fight after Mom died. I am not eating off what he washes. No way in hell. So, like most normal people, you know how a plate has this center section and then a rim? He washes just the center section. So if there's stuff stuck around the rim part, too bad. And then because he stacked them all up, there'll be stuff on the backs of them. He doesn't wash that part either. No, no, I'm not eating off that. No. So Gary's not allowed to do the dishes. Just no. So he has other tasks. He takes the recycling out. He brings the recycling bins back up. He doesn't usually remember to help take the trash out, but he will. He does make sure he brings the empty trash cans back up to the house, puts them away. We have a plastic tote bag in the kitchen for recycling that as soon as that's full, he takes that and dumps it in the big bin outside. So he's good with that. He'll do that. Sometimes he'll help get my laundry up and down the steps. Usually he's take it down, but he's always, doesn't want to bring it back up. You know, he can lift it better than I can right now. So Gary has very set things we can let Gary do, but dishes is not one of them. I will stand there. And what gets to me is he smokes, and he's only allowed to smoke in his room or outside. That was how he had it with Mom, and so I kept it that way because I'm not having that problem. But yeah, the problem with his dishes that he keeps up there, especially if he has anything that's plastic, that as soon as hot water hits it, the smell of the cigarettes comes right off of it, especially plastic stuff. We've managed to get rid of most of the plastic stuff. There's still a few things. Gary's judgment skills are not great. Gary can't live alone because of things like how he does the dishes. That's just not going to be a good thing. So what are you going to do? You work around it the best you can. Gary could be a poster child for Asperger's, which is not something we ever knew about growing up. It wasn't anything we'd ever heard of. But having had a Boy Scout now who went on to become senior patrol leader, kid's brilliant, but social cues, he had a hard time with. But Gary could definitely be a poster child for it. But, you know, we never knew it. Gary was always just different. So, oh, Melanie. Yeah, see, I will gladly do the dishes because Mike does a lot of the cooking. Mike made dinner tonight. He got a rice cooker that can actually be used as a slow cooker, and he made beef and broccoli. All I had to do was make the rice. And then he got annoyed because when it came time to put the vegetables in, he had just chopped up some broccoli, but I love butternut squash, and Mrs. Hampton she's given me 2 now, big butternut squashes. So I chopped some of it up and threw it in with it. It's like, there you go again, adding more vegetables. I don't care. We're going to eat it. But yeah, there's a lot of, I see Josie's comment about, news is bad and it hits hard and fast. Yeah. And I've noticed that with a lot of you, that there have been things that it's just one on top of the other. And I'm going to take a minute to be serious. You can get through it. It hurts and it's hard and it's demoralizing, but you're going to keep going. You are. It's just the way it works. You just keep going. And the best you can do some days is to just take a deep breath and just remember any good, happy, wonderful moment that you can. The reason I know you can get through it and even though it can be so horrible to deal with, is because when my father died at 67, I was only 30. In 6 months, his death was the first. The day after his funeral was a funeral for one of the old, well, not one of the old farts. We lost all 3 old farts. My father was the youngest, and he was the first one to go. But the next day after his funeral was one of the old Boy Scouts that went through it with my oldest brother. His funeral was the next day. We had 11 funerals in 6 months. It got to the point where if the house phone rang, everybody would just freeze. Like, you'd be in the middle of a sentence and the phone would ring and we'd all just stop. Because at that point, we had Mom and me and Gary in the house, and the 3 of us would just stop and stare at the phone because nobody wanted to answer it. Nobody wanted to answer the phone anymore because it just seemed like one thing after another for 6 months. My dad's death was sudden. It was an aneurysm. Mom and Dad had been together since their junior year of high school. The wind was completely knocked out of her. I'd leave for work and leave her at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee and the newspaper. I'd come back 8 hours later. She's still in the same position. The coffee's gone and the newspaper might have been turned 2 or 3 pages. My getting custody of my nephew is probably what saved my mother. Because at the end of those 6 months, we just were finally seeing the end of it. The last of the neighborhood old farts had passed away. My dad was the youngest at 67. Hilton was the oldest at 81. He had a stroke within half an hour of being told Dad had died because the shock was too much for him, because he just kept saying he thought he'd be the first one to go because he was older than the other 2. And then the third one, the old farts, as he just declined rapidly over those 6 months because he'd lost 2 of his 2 best friends in the neighborhood. So it can be rough, and it is rough, but you can make it through it. But you need to remember to take moments to self-care. You have to. You absolutely have to. It's the only way that you're gonna keep your sanity. And I can say this as the voice of experience, because we had 11 funerals in 6 months. We had 3 houses in the family. Well, 2 houses within the family that had to be emptied, and then a third one where it was a friend of my mom's, and the husband didn't know what to do with any of the sewing stuff, so he just gave it all to my mother. There was a lot of it. So, we had that to deal with. You've got to find a support network that's out of the middle of that realm of what you're dealing with. If I hadn't had the friends that I had that were not tied to my immediate family, I would have been in a much darker place. And depression runs through my family. And it was long after that I got diagnosed with depression, and I take Prozac every day. So imagine trying to get through that and not having had that diagnosis and not having anything to help me. So you've got to remember to take some time, even if it's just 5 minutes here or 5 minutes there, and take the time to self-care. My best self-care was to get a cup of tea and get the hell out of the house. I didn't even care if it was the middle of winter. I had a wicker chair that I picked up at a flea market that was on the porch right outside this window. And I bought myself a shepherd's hook and a bird feeder And I would fill that thing and then come sit up. I was out there one day. It was so blasted cold. I had my wool coat on, which is this big, heavy wool coat. And then I had a wool blanket over top of me just so I could sit out there for 20 minutes with a cup of tea and just sit there and watch the birds come eat, because that was my sanity. Find your sanity. Find that one or two things you can do that help you just focus on that thing and let everything else go. For me, it was just watching the birds and hearing the little chitting noises they make. It quieted all the voices in my head. It quieted down all the stress. It just would be 10 or 15 minutes. I tried to do it every day. Couldn't always do it every day, but I tried, and it saved my sanity, and it just left me not feeling as exhausted, because it at some point gave my brain a rest period. And it's okay to do that. It's important to do that. And know that in this community, we have your back. We have prayers out there for anything you need. Okay, you're not alone. You've got us. And we may be scattered all across 2 countries. Well, Nate, 3 countries. But we're here, you know? So keep that in mind. You're not alone. And find your moment. Find your one moment that helps you center and focus that brain onto just that thing and not on all the stuff going around you, because it will definitely help. So that's my public service announcement for the night. What was it that they used to do? They'd have the public service announcements, and then they'd play the national anthem, and then then you'd hear the beep, and the test thing or static would go on the TV stations. Yeah, I mean, you guys, I've been through. Nobody should have to go through that much at one time, just for 6 months straight. But at the end of it, I got Michael. Got a 2-year-old, became instant mom to a nephew. So, and where would he go if not with me? Because they didn't want to let my mom take him because they said she was too old. And here I was, 30, still trying to put myself through college. So, look, more. These are different though. These don't match the ones we just found. These are linen. They have all the little thread lines. So this goes with the other World's Fair. Woo! Sexy, sexy here. Look at that. Ice Capades of 1945. She is so disproportionate when you look at her up close. We'll put that with the circus ones. But now, what do we got here? These are, okay, I should probably take these out and put these in with the other old Pennsylvania postcards I have. Look at this one's Bushkill Falls, but it's all frozen. Bushkill Falls is near Resica Falls Scout Reservation, because they're both along the Bushkill River. What is this one in the back? Oh, okay. It just has that. No address. It just has a name and then says Moylan, PA. From 1947. Says teenagers, no meeting Friday, October 10th. Next meeting, October 17th? I've never seen a postcard like that. Now, I know back in the day, you didn't have to put a street address. You just put the town on it. Mailmen would find you. Oh, okay. This is a whole little leaflet. One of those ones that has several things that fold out. Because, yeah, I know where. I've never actually been further down the road. Bushkill Falls is considered the Niagara Falls of Pennsylvania. But all down that Bushkill River, there's a lot of falls. I wonder if they're marked on the back. 2 of these are photographs. And then there's another postcard. Oh, look at the baby bear. And he's so cute. They're so cute when they're that size. They're not so cute when they're like, you know, eating out of your trash can in the middle of the campsite. Oh, now here's another. I'll bet you this is also along the Bushkill River. This just says Paradise Falls on the back. It's an old photograph. Bye, Fiona. I have to sort Fiona's stuff out because that's a lot to get it to where she's at. And I think the weight is, I have to break up her stuff for her because the weight to send some of this stuff to Singapore is just insane. If I break it up into 2, I think it'll actually be cheaper for her. Yes, Julie, we are all blessed to have this community, man. I grew up a lot thinking I was alone because my family, not really a close-knit one. Dad thought it was funny to always like pit us against each other. So it's not good. But it helps when you know you're not alone, and it does a world of good for your morale when you know you're not alone. So I have always made sure Mike always knew, I'm here. You're not alone. Look at, isn't that pretty? Jungle Parade. Or if you like monkeys and birds, you know that. That would actually be pretty cool if you like elephants to just stand this up behind a couple of like elephant figurines. This is a big old thing. So this is 1938 from the Whitman Publishing Company. It's got a poem in the front about travel to jungle land, a map of Africa, sort of. It goes through all the different critters. Closest thing I guess you had to a kid's book in 1937. Modern Educational Series. See that? Modern Educational Series, a unit of work on the jungle. So apparently it says this series of books, so must have been different ones. These books and units of work may be used in different grades, and then it has activities and correlated subjects. So was it a school book? Maybe it was. Heck of a school book. All right, that's another book, so we're going to put that with that pile of books. I had no idea this was so full of this much little stuff. Jeez Louise. Oh, criminy. Slides. At least I can see the bottom of the box now. Let's get all this left out of here. A box of something squished. Wow. Come here, you. Get all of you. Oh, I dropped something. I dropped something. Oh, I thought they were earrings, but okay, cooperate. You're not going to cooperate. We'll make you cooperate one way or another. Get you out of this crappy bag. So I thought these were going to be earrings, but look at those backs. It says Rocky the Rooster by Nemo. They're little pins. Well, that's cute. Well, we're going to stick you in the box over here for the next live sale. Oh, an American Airlines pencil. Oh, Melanie, tickets from concerts? You might want to look some of them up online. Tickets from concerts actually have people that buy them. Old tickets. I always thought that was nuts, but they do it. Oh, this is from near me. So this is Longwood Gardens, which is a big garden center. Not like a garden center like you think of, where you go buy your stuff, but it's big gardens, and they've got acres and acres of different setups. And the conservatory is fantastic. So this has just a devil finger cactus, the display basin for the fountains, orchid display, azalea conservatory, and main conservatory. Where the devil is there an azalea conservatory? I've been out to Longwood Gardens several times in my life, and I've still not seen everything they have in those gardens. I will have to figure out how to do it, because I know these pre-made packets of slides, people still buy these on eBay. This one says, these two say Sydney, Nova Scotia, Newport, Rhode Island, the United States Capitol, Great Smoky Mountains, National Park. Oh, the Biltmore House and Gardens. That's a big fancy place down in North Carolina. And the Breakers, the Cornelius Vanderbilt Museum. Ooh, I wouldn't mind taking a look at that one. So, more research. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stand, the box is almost empty. I'm going to stand them up in the side. I know I just sold one of these not that long ago. More Royal Lime bottles, old ones. Yep. These are neat bottles because they always have that lime embossed on it. These are the old lids too. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they made the lids out of lead on the old ones. And they're a little bigger. The last time I sold one, it was one of these little short ones, which they don't even make the tiny one anymore. So we use the bottles to hold up. Let's see, what's this one? Oh, I don't know. All I can pronounce is Coburg. I don't know. Oh, the albino squirrel. It's not albino. No, no, no. It's not albino. They do not have red eyes. That is a white squirrel from Arden, Delaware. There is a place in Ohio. I can't remember where, but there is a place in Ohio that actually has a white squirrel preserve because they want to protect their white squirrels and keep them. White squirrels are not common, but they are not albino. They do not have the red eye. There's a name for them, and I cannot remember it. I can't remember what they call it. But I've seen a couple of them, and I think they're awesome. Out near about 8 miles away from me in Granite Run, that area has black squirrels that are all black fur. Most of the ones right around me, they're all the typical gray one. And those suckers get bigger and fatter and nasty little tree rats. Oh, Jose, you were looking at the Jungle Parade? Yeah, if you guys see anything specific that you're interested in, just shoot me an email. Oh, throat's beginning to hurt. Now, I know what these are because I've sold a couple of these. These are kind of cool. It's a rain poncho, but not just any rain poncho. This was the one they gave you on the airlines, on American Airlines. It says, we can't control the weather, but this rain wrap will protect you from it. Compliments of your stewardess. And then down here, it has the logo of the big old bird. It has the flying eagle that they used to use and says American Airlines. So it looks like there's two in here. Tuck that in the corner because that's American Airlines. Pencil's American Airlines. Okay, I have to check with Noelle from... Brain is getting tired. I've forgotten the name of her channel. She was talking about pencils. There's a certain pencil. This says it's a number 2. Pencils, the number on them is the hardness of the lead. And for artists, there's certain numbers they are having a hard time getting anymore. So sometimes old pencils can be worth something. Now this one says flagship United Airlines all across here. So for an airline collector that wants early American Airlines stuff, that will sell because I've sold probably a dozen of them by now. But I want to know what the ones are that what the numbers are that I know number 1, I think it's number 1 is is the hardest one they make, but you just don't ever see those anymore. Oh, I'm gonna have to do a video on these. I have a bunch of catalogs, old catalogs that I want to do videos on, but this one unfortunately is not in color. Do we have a date? Oh, darn, no date. Well, looking at those prices and looking at those sets and looking at that bobbed hairdo, 1930s maybe? Style book of Busilla embroidery packages. And mom's got bobbed hair. The kids have bobbed hair. Now, look at the outfits on these kids. I'm thinking 1930s for those outfits. But I have a couple of them. I have this. I have some old Hirschners. I think I have a Sears book. Yeah, I've got one Sears Wish book down there. I've got one. I did one once a long while ago, but I've since, as I'm finding other ones, I've been hanging on to them. Put this over here with this because there's 2 others sitting down there, and get those videos made of going through them because it's cool. Because for all of us that like our old linens and stuff, a lot of times the Busilla would sell the linen with the pre-printed thing on it. So finding the old catalogs like that can help you actually date some of the linen stuff that you pick up and buy. Okay, this must be a local map because I see Tinicum, but I don't see anywhere else I recognize. Maybe it's not a local map. Oh, okay, Bucks County and Montgomery County. Old, now these are local. The legend doesn't have a date. All right. So that's, actually I should put that with Friends Meeting because that's local stuff. Now let's see what the squashed box is. Oh, wow. This is really fine. Wow, what is this? Oh no, there's a hole. There's a couple of holes. Oh, you bugger. Are you dry rotting? Oh, there are some holes at this end. What is this label? Red leaf, John Wanamaker, made in England, 100% new mohair. Oh, wow. I'm not sure what mohair is. Is that from a rabbit or something? Yeah, look, it's so delicate. I mean, and you can see it's got some dry rot spots. What a pity. I don't know if you could do anything with that. I mean, the center section doesn't have any holes. I mean, neat fabric as such, but that is so incredibly sheer and thin. Pity it's not white. I could make some ghosts out of it. That seems like that would have been cool if it were not already like dry rotting. I'll put that up there with the hat because we have a hat that's got issues. Oh, more. Oh, these are cool. So this is Budapest. Budapest. There's a lot of these. So is that the, what's this one? Oh, these are Zion National Park. These are postcards. Good. I could use some postcards. I use them as package toppers. Oh, another thing, a Longwood Gardens at Christmas time. That's cool. I don't want to touch my, getting something in my eye, and I don't want to touch my eyes directly, considering all the dust that's on this stuff. There we go. Okay, so we have daily dances, surf bathing, direct from hotel. What hotel is it? The most perfectly located, luxurious, and reasonably priced hotel in Atlantic City. Hotel Holmhurst. Okay, so it's the same postcard. This one just says Walter, but the back's a little different. And then this one's actually an advertising one that they sent to someone, telling them that they appreciated their patronage and want to call their attention to new features in the hotel from 1940. That with the old postcards. Oh, this is a neat find. So this one's actually in pretty good shape comparatively. Usually they are literally falling apart. The Red Book of Birds of America. Before Peterson Field Guides came out, you had the red books, or sometimes there were blue books. This is from 1931, put out by Whitman, and you will get a picture of the bird and a brief description. Now, I have sold these. Oh, look, there's an owl. There you go, night owls. I've sold these even when they've been in pieces, these red bird books. So there are people out there looking for them. They are all always small like this. Red seem to be for the birds. Yellow is, I think, for the trees. Blue is either flowers or animals. But these are not usually a bad find. And then even if you find them in bad shape, they are great for people that want to, use the images. This one, though, the binding's really good. The pages aren't falling out, so that's a plus. Oh, here's a cave I've never been to, Carlsbad Caverns. Little tiny booklet thing of these. I swear my father found every cave from Michigan all the way down through Kentucky, and Mammoth Cave is one hell of a hike, and all the cool stuff is at the end. I hiked through that entire cave and got sick in that cave. But man, there are lots of little caves, especially in Kentucky. Aircam Aviation Series, Boeing B-17BH Flying Fortress. Ooh. Anything that has to do with military. Whether it's planes, trains, automobiles, anything that's military stuff. Uniforms, these things, booklets like these, they are always good sellers. They always find a good market. So it just, they all kind of like have that, like they, because I guess because the box has been opened, it doesn't have a lid on it. A lot of the stuff has like dust like all through it. So I'll carefully clean all this stuff. Now this is the Student Prints souvenir program. Now does this go with our, I don't want the history of the Student Prints. Come on, I want your title page. Okay, so this is at the Schubert up in Philly. So this, now I'm confused. I thought this said it was at the Schubert. Oh, Messieurs Schubert present the opera. Well, operetta. Okay, so this goes with this. This is the regular program in here, but then this is the fancy souvenir one that has like the costume design, sketches, photographs, a background on the cast and on the actual Student Prints itself. Wow, it even has lyrics to a couple of the songs. Okay, so then we'll take this Student Prints and we'll put it inside. Now all the stuff from that one show are in there, but this was there with it. Abby's Irish Rose on the air over the NBC network. Back when they used to have live people come in for the radio shows. I don't know who Ann Nichols was, but she apparently got star billing on this one. So we'll put that up there. Philadelphia Orchestra, Philadelphia Orchestra. We'll put that with the programs. We're going to take this one from the Locust Theater, put that up there. So they're all together. Souvenir of Niagara Falls, New York. And how many decades has there been a Maid of the Mist? Do we have a date? From the Canadian side. Well, there's no date in the front and no date in the back. But considering all the black and white pictures, the heavy paper that all these pictures are on, and that font, I would guess this is before World War II. Just for the way that, like, even this, these are all hand tinted kind of images. Like the reproduction of the coloring's not that great, but I would bet that this is probably from the 30s, 20s or 30s, but I'm leaning more towards the 30s just because of the coloring, the font style, the heavy grade paper they've got to use for that photography part. And okay, there's one last thing. What is this? Oh, wow. Hong Kong. Original dress lengths. It's fabric. It's fabric still in the original packaging. How cool. Are you silk? Can I get to this little piece? Dynasty dress lengths. Pure silk. Width 28 inches. Length 5 yards. Pure silk. Oh, cool. Well, what do we got here? Do we have any coloring? Discoloring anywhere? No. Doesn't look it. That's a plus. Where's a corner? I'm pulling on it. You pull each direction of the threads. If there's any dry rot, it's going to just go like it's tissue paper, but it's not. It's all holding together at that piece. So it seems to be in good shape. I'll clean the plastic off, but I will probably leave that in there. But I'll have to look up, find out, you know, I mean, how often do you find just vintage silk, just 5 yards of it? 28 inches wide, though. That's, by modern standards, that's very narrow. It might not be for silk from back in the day, because now modern fabrics, cotton fabrics, are usually 44 or 45 inches wide, and then whatever your length. So a 28-inch, a 28-inch width is not very wide, and you'd have to plan it out because you've got these Chinese symbols all over it. That's a great piece of fabric to find. Somebody had money somewhere. So that's all of that. That's a lot of cool stuff. A lot of research to do. But I definitely think some of it, like that the stuff from the Friends school, the Quaker high school, I think that would definitely will go up as one big lot on eBay. Oh, I almost forgot this was in there. I think this is older, like 30s too. Look at it, all the. It's a hard metal case, but it's got leather over top of it, and then these little decorative little corners. Oh, it's the original box. Look. You know what that is? Croton? Croton's a watch company. Oh, it looks like some moisture got into there at some point. That's pretty cool. So this is a pin watch, and it looks like this is a hand-painted piece. Might be enameled. Yeah, it looks like it's enameled. It's missing the pin. See, the pin to set it should have been there. But pin watches were very popular when they started coming out, and they started coming out, I think, the Edwardian period. So these things are really early. So this one's probably 1930s. I don't think it's a. I'd have to look up Croton because I don't think. I can't read the tiny little print on there of when the company. Now Croton, though, I don't think started off making little tiny watches, but that's pretty cool. You know, that's the kind of stuff like Mike would love to learn how to repair old watches like that, but we haven't found anybody near us that, you know, unless you know somebody to become an apprentice to them, I don't know how you would ever learn that stuff. So we're going to have to take a closer look at that one. Because if that's moisture under there, that's a bad thing if that's still moisture inside that thing. It could be any kind of, because it's sat with the clock face down, that could actually be if somebody oiled it just a little too much and all that over the decades has settled onto the glass, onto the crystal. Lois, I went to college for communications. My degree was supposed to be communications. The plan was I would get my communications and secondary education degree. I would go teach high school. That would be a tricky one because you need to find some place where you could teach, say, theater and argument and debate and stuff like that. So I wanted to teach high school for a couple of years and then get my master's and then start teaching in the law schools, teach lawyers how to present themselves. So yeah, I'm out of practice, but I get a chance to give speeches once in a while with Boy Scouts. I get to use it on the teenagers, the stuff I've learned. I used to direct operettas too. So I used to direct shows in community theater. So all those skills that I learned in college, I have not gone to waste. Not at all. So I try. Sometimes though, you use those skills to verbally knock someone's head around because you can't just slap them one. So you have to do it verbally. That comes in handy. And I'll tell you, I tell my scouts this all the time. If you ever are so mad at somebody, you just want to cuss them out, screw with them. Don't use a single curse word. Tell them they're codfish. Tell them, look up some Shakespeare insults. Throw one of those at them. They can't argue with you. They can't discount it because you're not using the standard curse words that they think of. And it completely fries their little brains. It's great. I love it. I do it all the time. I'm trying to read some of the chat, so... Oh, you've never seen Earlier Than the Peterson Field Guides. Yeah, and Peterson Field Guides, the earlier the edition you have, more money you can get for the early ones, because sadly there are birds in Peterson Field Guides, especially the bird ones, that we've already lost, that are already considered extinct. Like the dodo. I had to explain to a kid once that the dodo is a real bird and we killed it, all of them, because they nest on the ground and we brought pigs, and instead of keeping the pigs penned in, we let them roam wild. And what did they eat? They ate all the birds in the nests. They ate all the eggs. So yeah, we did that. There's a couple others we've done that too. This year, there's some type of woodpecker that I hear got added to the extinct list that should be in the southern states down in through Mexico. So the bird books, some of them are for people that are, researching what's already been gone, and sometimes there's some serious bird people out there that have lists that they want to see all these different birds that are on this part of the country or that part of the country, or there's some hardcore bird people out there. We have bird study merit badge in Boy Scouts, and a couple kids have taken it over the years. I think only one has actually finished it, because you have to see and identify X number of birds. I think you have to identify 50. That can take a while. And so it's a challenge to finish that one. But we've had at least 6 that I know took it. I think 8 maybe total. But I know definitely at least 6. But only one kid in the years I've been with the troop has actually gone to the trouble to finish it. So I think my chat just stopped. If I bored you all to death... I hope I didn't bore you all to death. My throat is beginning to hurt. So, do we really want to tackle that tonight? Well, let's at least tackle one thing. Find out what this is, because I don't know what's up here. I mean, I kind of know what this pile is. There's a bunch of Sotheby's auction catalogs there, and there's a couple of other autographed fiction books. So I kind of know what this pile is. I don't really know what the pile on the other side is. And I have no idea what's been sitting underneath the TARDIS. So let's see. Oh, look, big birds under the TARDIS. Look at how young they look. Wow. 1977 for this one. Good heavens. 245 records. People in your neighborhood and 5 people in my family. I don't think I've heard them sing that song since I was a kid. Now, what's this one got? Cross at the Green, which I don't really remember, and Bus Stop. I don't really remember that one. But that's different. How many of you are Sesame Street babies? I was born in 65. I am definitely a Sesame Street baby. Is this the one I did the video on? This is a catalog from Hanover House. I can't think of the name. Walter, what's the one now? Walter Craig, where you get a catalog and it's all these like supposedly helpful things around the house, and they usually were cheap plastic. So this was another catalog I came across. I get a kick out of when you find something like this, which it's a lipstick lady, which I've never seen those until I got into the vintage reseller, and some of the other resellers have had them on their channels, on their live sales. I never knew about those little lipstick ladies. I'd never seen them before. Where's another one? Where's another fun page in this thing? Do we have a year on this? No, maybe there's a year on the order sheet. Hanover House from Hanover, Pennsylvania. Bummer, I don't see a year. But I do remember these. These little statues, it's all the presidents. And I remember them. There might actually be 1 or 2 around. This guy cracks me up. This is Roy the Froy. Roy the Froy he's just a fur ball. Literally, with googly eyes. He's literally just a fur ball with googly eyes glued to it, and they charged you $1 for it. Oh, man. But then it's like, then it's got all the other, like, household little things. So some of them, it'll have, like, some little fun thing in it. It's funny, though, how some things just still haven't changed, because you still see it in some of these catalogs you can get nowadays. We'll put that with the Busilla one. What's buzzing? Why are you buzzing now? I don't even know where you are. The old phone is buzzing its little head off. The one with the really badly broken screen. Because I can't figure out. So I started on TikTok as this overstuffed house, but I also had also been on it before, and I thought I deleted that, but now I've screwed up somehow, and the new phone is into the old account, but the old phone still logs into this overstuffed house, and I haven't figured out how to get into that one again because I can't remember the password. So check this out. We all know I like Alice in Wonderland. It's an old Women's Day with Alice in Wonderland dolls you can make. Over 100 Christmas gifts. This is cool. Oh, look, this is all this stuff you can make from your own kitchen. Wow. Yeah, I could make it if my oven actually worked. Okay, I like these, but I don't like the eyeballs. The eyes look a little creepy. The bodies look neat, but the eyes look at that pig. The pig looks cute, but the eyeballs are creepy. What's wrong with them? What were they doing? What is wrong with those eyeballs? Is it because they're too small? Maybe it's because their eyeballs are too small. So this is Women's Day from November 1965. Gee, so I was born on the 27th, so not too long after I was born. April 1965. Well, these will have to be in the upcoming live sale. They're just fun to read through. What else we have? We have Women's Day, November 1972. This one's thicker than the others. I guess there's an awful lot of Christmas stuff and crafts. Is there any good pictures? There's a lot of ads in these. Brax can't. Well, that's why, though. There's a lot of ads in here I'm seeing for everything you could want to cook. I'm seeing ads for, where'd you go? Ads for flour, ads for the Hoover vacuum cleaner, ads for toys, Brax candies, Fleischmann's yeast. 100 oh, that's why it's so thick. 150 gifts to make. Yeah, if you knew how to crochet. I don't know how to do any of that. I do not know how to crochet. Never got around to that. You too can have 1970s designs living room. Oh, and the last one is 1971. You know, it almost looks the same. So this one is November 1971, and then this one is November 1972. But look at the critters. They kind of have that same kind of look, almost. That's different. Yet not. I do like the squirrel. I think the squirrel with the funny tail is, I think the squirrel's funny. You can make me a white squirrel. It's just so funny when you look back at some of the stuff from the 70s. Like, even in the 70s, who was going to wear this in their hair, right? So, I mean, look how big that is. I'm not wearing, like, it looks like 3 different barrettes. Just maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just 3 different barrettes shoved into her hair for the picture. Of course, then there's things like this if you want to do junk journaling and have Snoopy. You've got that in there. But yeah, you've got, there's the, okay, so all these animals are made out of old coats, old mittens, terry cloth, or velour. So they're telling you can reuse old stuff because that's the raccoon is a coat. You can tell from the pattern on him. The bunny is from a mitten. Not sure what the frog is. So at least you're, reuse, repurpose, recycle. The turtle is made up of all kinds of little bits. So that's kind of cool. I still like going through these and trying the recipes. I do like trying them because Mike has pulled so many recipes off the internet and they have failed miserably. And then I will pull out a recipe that, I have stacks of them that Mom had cut out of magazines that are still out there on the kitchen in the cabinet. And we'll pull one of them out, and usually you have all the ingredients. There's no fancy something or other that you've got to go hunt for, and they all usually taste pretty good. And are all usually a lot easier to make because they don't have some fancy ingredient in them like some of these new ones. Oh yeah, you got to make it with this, and then, oh yeah, you need this one particular white wine vinegar, like everybody has that in their house. So not here. Okay, so I've got 4 magazines that'll be in the next couple of sales. I do really like that one though, with the Alice in Wonderland stuff. So that'll give us even more ephemera. So I think I'm going to stop for the night because my throat is beginning to hurt. And it's getting hard to swallow again. And that's not a good thing. So I hope you guys had fun. And I know we don't have as many watching as we usually do, but it's because it's not, it's not a sale. But, it's fun to have somebody here to work along with me. And one of these times I'll get it figured out so that I can actually put out the link, because I have to, for me to share the link to have one of you come on if you wanted to, open mic night, and come on StreamYard with me, I'd have to film through the laptop instead of through the phone, which gives me a clearer picture, because I can't, with the mouse, I can highlight and copy, and that way I'd be able to share the link into the chat. And I can't do that if I'm on the phone because it never ever wants to really work that well. So I try to copy stuff on the phone and it never seems to quite work. So I will see you guys next week. By then, the new antibiotic should have run its course and we get rid of whatever this is stuck in my throat and in my bronchial tubes, and I'll have a voice. And you can be your own guest on StreamYard. Yeah, but don't you? Well, yeah, because I could be my own guest by putting it through on here. Maybe I could figure it out, because then I could email it to myself, the link, and then I could just copy and put it into the chat on the laptop, but still use that to film with, because it's just a better camera than the laptop has. So, all right, well, I'm glad you were working along too. Sometimes that's what you just need, a couple people chat while you work along. And I know Philly Flipper, he does lives where it's, work with me, but he usually has a guest come on, and so that you've got somebody who you're bouncing and having a conversation with. The chats are nice, but it's still a one-way conversation when it's just me or just one person in general. So, all right. So you guys Ah, Halloween cards. Yeah, I got in trouble when I said that. Somebody got mad at me when I said it'd be a cold day in hell when you see a Halloween sale from me. Because because I think I was meant to be born on Halloween. My mother thought it too. But the damn doctor wanted to go on vacation, and he was not the doctor who delivered any of their other five. So because the doctor who delivered the other five finally he retired from delivering babies, so he wouldn't come out of retirement to deliver me. But when the woman who has already had five children tells you you're wrong about her due date, you should shut the hell up and listen to her. I should have been born on Halloween or at least mischief night. He told my mom, if you don't let me induce you, I'm going to tell your insurance that you weren't following doctor's orders, and then they won't cover the bill when you do have the baby. What is it with white men in power? They're assholes. So I put that poor woman through 36 hours of labor, and then I finally showed up on the 27th. But everybody else, Steve was December 7th, so Steve was Pearl Harbor Day. Phyllis was the day after Christmas, so she was Boxing Day. Now I get David and Roy mixed up. One was Easter Sunday and the other one was on Mother's Day. And I never really remember which one was which. Gary was born on Valentine's Day. I'm sure I was holding out for Halloween. Yeah, so I will have Halloween fun this year, though, because I'm going to be on Sandy and Otto on her Saturday night sale on the 30th of October. I have to do something. I haven't decided what yet. Maybe I'll dye my hair pink. I've done purple quite a few times. Maybe I'll go pink. Like that kawaii. And if you don't know what kawaii is, it's Japanese cutesy cute, you know. And so maybe I should do like that cotton candy pink. So, all right. The last thing I just found, I think these I probably picked up to resell because I'm not into Cupid dolls. But I've got 4 postcards here. Well, these 3 are, they say kid comic, but they have almost that Cupid look, not quite. But then this one, I think these are the Campbell's kids. Just says universal copyright, and it's made by, I don't know, it says PRN. I don't know who that is, but these look like the Campbell's kids. It just says the honeymoon. And it has the artist's name, so I'll have to research who was the artist for the Campbell's kids, because I think that's them. But these 3 will certainly end up in the next live sale. Oh, look, it's written on here. Douglas Tempest. So at some point I did the research and wrote it on the back. They are the Campbell Soup kids, and the artist was Douglas Tempest. Cool. Good to know. So I'll probably put Campbell's kids on eBay, and then the other ones will put in for you guys because they have that Cupid look, and I know a lot of you like that Cupid doll look. So, all right. Do turquoise. Well, I've kind of done, well, it didn't quite come out turquoise. It came out more like teal. So we'll see. Mike is probably getting me my haircut for Christmas, for my birthday. And because it's growing in now, but it's different lengths. Remember when it got really short and was because it got off kilter? So now as it's coming in, it's all kind of jagged edges. And so we'll see what happens. I might show up at Trish. Who knows? I've got wigs that are different styles and colors, and maybe I'll just wear one of them. One of them I might be able to wear that fancy tiara with. except that thing's got some weight. I don't want to do a wholesale with that on. So have a good night. Have a good weekend. I'll see you guys in the chats next week. And next week we'll have another live sale. And hopefully you guys all have a good weekend and avoid this, whatever it is, because apparently from what I saw early in the chats, it is going around in more than just my area. And it's given everybody bad sore throats. And for some people it does, like me, it's settled basically from the top of the bronchial tubes all the way up to the glands here and in the one ear canal. So it's like from here to here on me. With my brother, it went into his lungs already. So it's got light, well, luckily because I pestered, they got it real quick on him before it got too bad to be pneumonia, but still it's pneumonia. So hang in there, everybody. Take care of one another. And, you know, at some point this weekend, be kind. Just randomly for one thing, if you see an opportunity at any point this weekend to do something kind for somebody, whether you know them or not, be kind. Because Lord knows this world needs it. All right. See you guys next week. Bye.